Hello, my name is Christy Fraley. I am the Director of Administrative Services for the Tippecanoe School Corporation. As part of my assigned duties, I serve as the School Safety Specialist for the corporation. One of the responsibilities of this position is providing a safe, drug-free school environment for each of our school buildings. As I am sure you are aware, Tippecanoe School Corporation has taken a leadership role in drug prevention efforts among the schools in Indiana and throughout the United States. In 1989, TSC was the first school district in the nation to implement mandatory random drug testing for student athletes and cheerleaders in our high schools. More recently, the Board of School Trustees has expanded the drug testing policies to include high school drivers and the middle and high school students who appear to be involved in some form of illegal drug use. TSC has also created the positions of drug counselor and 2 student assistance coordinators. In addition, the corporation has funded many initiatives to prevent drug use among our students. The goal of these efforts is to provide a safer learning environment for all of our students. The drug testing policies do not prohibit students from attending school. They simply seek to help our students. But unfortunately, all of these efforts cannot totally prevent some students from engaging in drug activity and attempting to bring drugs into their school building. This will not be tolerated. In every instance where drug use, possession, transfer, or the possession of paraphernalia is involved, students are recommended for expulsion and are reported to legal authorities. The Board of School Trustees has adopted the policies that require this action. Your building level administrators enforce the rules and apply the policies. For the past several years, we've conducted drug dog searches at both high schools and middle schools. The purpose of these searches was to assist the school administration in maintaining a safe, drug-free school environment. We will continue such searches in the future. Prior to doing any search, we want all of you to understand the capabilities of law enforcement personnel and their search dogs. Thus, you will view this program to make you more aware of the nature of these searches. You have my assurance that once this tape has been played at your school, the search dogs and law enforcement personnel will visit TSC schools unannounced. We will search some or all of the following: students, student backpacks, student lockers, and vehicles parked in the school parking lots. Finally, I do not want to frighten any student. If you are not involved in the situation, you have nothing to fear. But if you insist on bringing drugs into our schools or on our property, you need to know that we will make every effort to ensure that you are caught and punished. We want to ensure that our schools are drug-free. Please pay close attention to the tape and think about the consequences of your actions.
Come on, buddy, come on. Oh.
Hello, I'm Shane Howard, Explosives Detection Canine Handler with the Tippecanoe County Sheriff's Office. I'm joined on stage by Deputy Miller with his dog Arco and Deputy Heath with his dog Jovi. We are members of the Canine team. The letter K and the number 9 form an acronym for the Latin name for dog, which is Canis Lupus Familiaris. We work with specially trained canines using to our advantage the animal's specialized traits and abilities. This includes a highly developed sense of smell, loyalty to their owners, and a strong protective instinct, all which we will demonstrate later. Although a number of dog species are used for both police and armed forces, the dogs you'll be seeing today are Belgian Malinois. These dogs were raised and trained in the Netherlands and then imported into the United States for further training. After the dogs are ready, our deputies are sent to specialized schools for 6 weeks of instruction on how to handle and work with these incredible animals. How many of you have a dog that doesn't listen to you? Well, there's no greater pleasure for both a dog and its owner than to have a dog that obeys. Dogs are pack animals. They want you to lead, follow, or simply get out of their way. But they all best thrive when being led by an alpha dog. That is what every dog owner needs to become, even more so for police work. One of our biggest training objectives is obedience. Obedience is the foundation for all other training is built upon. Without obedience, we cannot effectively use our dogs. We are kind and encouraging to these dogs, but very strict. That's why we refer to ourselves as dad to our dogs. There have been studies that have shown that dogs can retain 260 vocabulary words. Granted, they were all nouns. It's still amazing capacity for an animal. Our dogs really only have to learn 6 to 8 words, and most of these words are in Dutch because their training initially started in the Netherlands. After a while, they do start to understand our English words too. Like most mammals, dogs have a color vision equivalent to red-green color blindness in humans. While a dog's visual acuity is less than a human's, their ability to detect moving objects is very high, being able to differentiate between humans such as their owners and a stranger a mile away. A dog's ears are much better than a human's. They can hear frequencies between 40 to 60,000 hertz, making it far superior to humans. To help focus their hearing acuity, 18 different muscles tilt, rotate, raise, or lower a dog's ears so they can pinpoint the direction of the sound and hear further away, 4 times further away than humans. If that's not impressive enough, consider the dog's olfactory sense. Unlike a human's brain, a dog's brain is dominated by an olfactory cortex. The olfactory bulb or nose of a dog is roughly 40 times larger than that of what humans can smell, or their smell receptors, with up to 220 million receptors. This gives dogs the ability to detect odors at concentrations nearly 100 million times lower than what humans can. And that perpetually wet nose, that is essentially for determining the air direction from where the smell is coming from, and helps them hone in the direction. This explains why these dogs can be trained to sniff out explosives such as ammunition and bombs. Here's an example of a 2.5-ton cache of weapons and explosives found in an underground bunker by an Army canine team in Iraq. As I mentioned earlier, I handle an explosives detection canine. My dog Iron is trained in about 15 different types of explosives and can detect them in vehicles, luggage, homes, businesses, and schools, along with stadiums such as Purdue's football stadium. You can see that a single dog like Iron could potentially save thousands of lives. But in this county alone, 85% of the canine team's detection role is for drugs and narcotics such as marijuana, cocaine, heroin, and methamphetamine. The majority of these searches are done in vehicles. If an officer makes a traffic stop and he believes there is some sort of drug in the vehicle, he will call for a canine unit. There are 4 teams just trained in narcotics detection, not to mention 4 with Lafayette Police, 2 with West Lafayette Police, 1 with Purdue Police Department, and 1 with the Indiana State Police. They will arrive at the traffic stop and run their dog around the exterior of the vehicle. When the dog detects a drug, they will either jump to tell us where the narcotics are, or they will actually sit in the alert position. The alert position is a trained response to the presence of an odor of narcotics. If they get an alert from the dog, that allows the officer to search the vehicle, and we can put the occupants of the vehicle in jail for the related offense. The same goes for searching a house for drugs or a field where a suspect might have thrown or hidden a bag of drugs. As you can tell, these dogs are worth their weight in gold when it comes to the fight against illegal drugs. In the same way, we can use a dog's nose for tracking. If someone takes off on foot and we need to find them, we will deploy our canines. This could be for a suspect or a lost child. The dogs are capable of detecting the little pieces of skin cells called skin rafts that are constantly falling off of us. These rafts are dropping off everywhere you go, so a dog can pick up the smell and track to the location of the suspect. The dog can even smell the crushed grass where your footsteps broke the blades. Our community is a safer place as a result of these dogs. At this time, we're going to demonstrate a narcotics hide to demonstrate just how good these dogs are at their jobs. If I could have some of our school employees come up to the stage now. Mr. Galima, Mr. Buss, and Mr. Wildener, if you each come up on the stage and take one of these 3 seats. Officer Miller and his dog Arca will join you.
Hey, buddy. What's that? Yeah. Normally what I do is I'll switch over to a certain collar, and this kind of lets him know, hey, it's time for us, we're going to search. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a hold of him. He knows what's going on already, but what I'll do is I'll hold him and I'll give him a certain command, and we're going to search all over the place till we find our drugs. So we'll here, if we can get him away from this, obviously. That's a good boy. Come here. Where's gift? Check. Good check, buddy. Good check. Check here. Good check. Good check. Good check, buddy. Check here. Check here. Sita. Mr. Galima, you have something you need to talk to us about?
I don't think so, officer.
Sita. Mr. Galima's got 28 grams of marijuana sitting on him. That's his reward. That's what he thinks he's finding. Arco actually thought he found a tennis ball, but instead, there's 28 grams of marijuana underneath Mr. Galima's seat.
Another job these dogs have is to protect and apprehend. That means if a suspect will not obey an order to stop, or if they attempt to batter a police officer, we always have a good partner to call on. If a person decides to get violent with us, we have a remote control device on our belt. With a push of a button, the back door of our cars automatically opens, and out comes our dogs. Our dogs are trained to know that this can only mean one thing, and that is Dad is in trouble and needs our help. You can run, and most try, but that is only going to make things worse, which we will demonstrate shortly. It is interesting the profound effect these dogs have on various situations. You can order a suspect out of a house, and he will not respond until you decide to send in the dog. They usually wish they would have listened the first time. Or a police line could be formed in their riot gear against a violent crowd. The crowd might taunt the police, but as soon as the dogs are brought in, the crowd backs off and often disperses. To illustrate their potential, we will close with a training demonstration to show what happens when these dogs are commanded to work. Again, Vice Principal Mr. Buss will be our suspect.
Watch out, what's that guy? What's that guy? You watch that guy. What's that guy? What's that guy, buddy?
Sheriff's Department, let me see your hands. Let me see your hands.
You stealing it. Oh, that's a good boy. That's a good boy. That's a good boy. That's a good boy. Oh, that's a good boy. That's a good boy, buddy. That's a good boy. That's a good boy. Suspect, stop fighting our dogs. Those. You watch him, buddy. You watch him, buddy. Oh, that's a good boy. That's a good boy.
That is when we utilize dogs like this to help us take into custody anyone who might pose a physical threat to us or innocent civilians. It is amazing to see these dogs work, to go from detection work to taking down a dangerous person. They are our partners and come to our aid when we need them, truly risking their lives to protect and serve our community. It is no wonder why they are often referred to as man's best friend. Thank you for your attention. We appreciate your interest. And if there's anything we or our dogs can do to help, feel free to contact the Tippecanoe County Sheriff's Office.
Hello, I'm Sheriff Tracy Brown. The members of the Tippecanoe County Sheriff's Office share a very important goal with parents, school officials, and students. That goal is to provide a safe learning environment for every student. That means a school free of drugs and weapons. You've had the opportunity to witness the capabilities of our canine officers and their partners. As you can see, they're a very effective and necessary part of our efforts to keep your schools safe. The message should be clear. It's not a question of if they will be used in our community, but instead a question of when. Thank you for your attention.